Okay, so this is cool. So this is the new Ridel Snugger. This is an electric bike that can get up to 25 miles per hour, and it just looks cool and it's a fun thing to ride. So this is going to be my review.
Okay, so this is a fun bike to ride, but before you get out there, you do have to assemble it. So when they mail it to you, it's pretty well packaged, but when they mail it to you, just take it out the box and you have to put on the handlebars, which are adjustable, so you can kind of move them to get the right angle for you. And then also the headlight and the front fender, and then also the pedals, and then the last thing will be the front tire. So I was able to get everything put together pretty much in like 20 minutes or so, but I did have someone just hold the bike up for me while I put the front tire on. But yeah, assembly is pretty simple. And then also too, you just need to charge this bad boy up. And I think from like 0%, it will take maybe around like 5 hours or so to get it back up to 100%. And then there's a little charging port on the right-hand side of the battery. And on the opposite side, you will find a USB port, so you can just plug in your phone if you wanted to get some juice out of that. And the battery is also removable, so when you do take your bike maybe to the office, you can just take that battery pack out and take it up and charge it. And then when you're ready to go back home, just put it back in the bike and you're set.
And so as far as looks, this has like a 1970s style to it. And look, I've been riding in the streets and people have pulled up alongside of me in a car and they were like, hey man, where did you get this from? And what is it? So it definitely catches people's eyes, and it has a really good, nice matte black finish on it. And it does have a step through design, so you don't have to like step over the seat to get on this bike. You can step through and easily get on it. And the seat itself is one of my favorite things about this bike. So it is longer than your typical bicycle seat. And so this not only allows you to move forward and backward to get a better position for yourself, it also allows you to have a second rider. And so this bike can support, well, it says on the website it can support up to 300 pounds. And then when you go into the user manual, it says up to 275 pounds. So I'm thinking it's right there in the middle somewhere. But yeah, if you have two riders that kind of like can match that weight, the person can sit on the back here, and you do have some little pegs here on the back that do fold down that you can allow them to put their feet on so they can be comfortable as well. And then also too, here at the front, we do have the handlebars where you will find the controls here to control the 7-speed. And then on the left-hand side, you do have a couple of buttons here for the horn. And then also too, you do have a button to turn on the headlight. Now, I wish this button also turned on the tail light that you do have on this bike, but unfortunately that's not the case. And so to turn on the tail light, you have a button right underneath here like so, and there it is. So it's a pretty nice bright tail light, but the button is in a bad location for my opinion, because if you have big fingers like me, it's a little bit hard to hit, and I accidentally sometimes find myself hitting the actual button to turn the entire battery off. So I do wish that they move the button maybe to the side somewhere just to make it a little bit easier to find. Now back up on the handlebars, you will find this pretty bright display that gives you information as far as like your speed, your battery life, and your distance traveled. And then also too, it can move from side to side. So I did move it to the left a little bit to make room for my Peak Design mobile bicycle mount here that allows me to easily put my phone on this to be able to have for navigation or control of my music or whatever. And then I do like these leather grips here for your hands. They look good and feel good. And then you have brake controls on each side, and you have the throttle here on the right-hand side. Oh. Fail, I gotta add that to the bloopers. And then the bike just feels solid. I mean, it feels very well built, and the cable management is definitely on point. Everything is kind of tucked away or tied down together. And just from a look standpoint, it checks all of the boxes. And from a riding standpoint, being able to function on it and be able to use it is something that's definitely welcoming for anybody, no matter what your skill level is. And it's just something that just makes you want to ride it just by looking at it.
And now let's just talk about how it is to ride this thing. So it's a pretty smooth ride. So the suspension system is awesome. And with those big fat tires that you have on this thing, you can go over all types of terrain. So out here in St. Louis, our roads are trash a lot of the time. So there's a lot of potholes and things like that I'm going over, but I didn't find myself like having to stand up on this bike sometimes when you know you're about to go over something rough, because the padded seat is great, the tires are great, the suspension is great, and just going over grass and things like that I feel very comfortable with. And then also too, just when you want to get on the bike and start riding, so it does come with the key, but that key is mostly used to be able to remove the battery, so you can put it in there and twist it, and then now you can take the battery battery out, but you don't necessarily need the key to start the bike. So on the bottom of the battery, there is an on-off switch. So once you have that on, you can't just get on the bike and go. You don't have to put the key in and twist it or anything like that. So the only way to stop someone from doing that, you just have to make sure you turn that button off. But when you are ready to go, you just hop on this thing and you press the mode button for a few seconds and it lights up and then just take off. So this bike does have 5 levels of pedal assist. So pedal assist means that when you are pedaling, the bike will also use the battery to be able to combine those two to be able to give you the force to take off on this bike and to keep your speed. And on the Snugger, you do have 5 levels of pedal assist, with 1 being the slowest and 5 being the fastest. And so when I'm riding around on this bad boy, I mostly keep the pedal assist at level 3, which is right there in the middle. It's a really good sweet spot. And with this, I'm able to get my maximum distance of around 26 miles per charge, which isn't that bad, and it's not too far off from the top range of this bike, which is 33 miles. And when it comes to electric bikes or electric scooters, it depends on your weight, it depends on the weather that day, how much wind is going against you or with you, and then also the terrain that you're riding on to really determine what your maximum range is going to be. So definitely, depending on all those different factors, your range can differ from mine. And for my max speed, I was able to get up to around like 22, 23 miles per hour on flat terrain, which is pretty close to the 25 miles per hour that they advertise. So I was happy with the speed. And so this bike, again, is one of those things where if you do want to go fast and go, that's just going to drain the battery faster. So if you do put it on the level 5 setting for pedal assist, you just know that you're not going to be able to get that same amount of distance. And the same thing applies if you just want to use the throttle and not pedal at all and just kind of ride this thing like an electric scooter. Your distance is definitely going to be cut down dramatically. But even with that, it depends on how long of a trip you are taking. But for me, I was able to get maybe around 2 kind of 13 to 15 mile trips before I thought about needing to charge this bike up. So that worked for me. Now, when it comes to braking distance, I didn't measure it out myself because on this bike, you're not going super fast. So any point that I needed to brake, whether I'm in the street or I'm just going down a grassy hill, I was able to stop pretty much on a dime. So I'm fine with the braking. And when you do find yourself going up a hill, I will always recommend to use pedal assist and not just rely on the throttle, because the motor is powerful, coming in at 750 watts, but still you do want to give it some help because it is a 66-pound bike, and depending on how much you weigh, you might want to give it a little bit of help. But I found that all the kind of average size hills that I went up, it took them out with no problem. Now, on one of my trips, I did run out of battery around like 5 minutes away from my place, and so I just had to pedal it the old school way. And even though this bike weighs 66 pounds, which is going to be more than your regular bike, it wasn't that bad to pedal this without any power on flat land. Now, when you are going up a hill or something, you're definitely going to feel it and get a little bit of a workout, but overall, it wasn't too bad to use this without any power at all. So this is one of the advantages of getting an electric bike versus like an electric scooter, because in the worst case scenario, if you do run out of battery, you can still just pedal and get yourself back. But then also too, with an electric scooter though, you can most of the time just fold it up and maybe call an Uber and throw that thing in the trunk, where this bike is a little too big for most Ubers out there, unless it's like an SUV or something, but typically you don't want to do that anyway. But again, you have those pedals to get you back, so that's fine. But one good thing about this bike is that it will help you out a little bit from running into that scenario, because this bike does have regenerative braking, meaning that every time you're braking, it's going to be giving you a little bit of power back into the battery. It's not going to be a huge amount all the time, but definitely is better than nothing, so you do have that in this bike. And so look, bottom line, this is an electric bike. It's kind of really easy to review this thing. It just really comes down to performance and reliability for me with these type of vehicles, and it works. Like, I usually like to take my scooter out sometimes when I'm going around the city to film, because it's small, it's nimble. I can get into places that maybe I can't with the car. But right now, I have to say that I am riding this bike more than I am riding my scooter, because look, I can hop on a bike path, and I can also get on this bridge that I've been showing you in this video a lot easier than I can even on my scooter. So I just get more flexibility, and it's just really fun to ride. And so yeah, this bike is pretty straightforward. So besides a couple of minor things that I would change, it really delivers on what they say it should. And for the $1,600 price tag, I know it does sound like a lot, but compared to other electric bikes of the same type of caliber, it's right there to where the average price is for something like this. But yeah, these are just my thoughts. What do you think about it? Leave your comment down below. And this company does make other style of bikes. Some of them are going to be a little bit lighter than this one, but maybe not as good for like off-roading and stuff. But I may check out some of the other style of bikes later. But for right now, I'm about to ride out. I know that sounds cliche, but I thank you for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.